results from Moderna showing their vaccine candidate to be 94.5% effective. Do you anticipate that it will get emergency use approval from the FDA, and how soon?
Well, we all anticipate it will. I don't want to get ahead of the FDA, but the data are striking, Savannah. They're really quite impressive. I mean, a 94.5% efficacy. There were 95 events, 5 of them in the vaccine group and 90 of them in the placebo group. That is really quite impressive, and really is something that foretells an impact on this outbreak, together with the vaccine that, just last week was shown to be comparably effective with the Pfizer. So now we have 2 vaccines that are really quite effective. So I think this is a really strong step forward to where we want to be about getting control of this outbreak.
And I won't hold you to it, because I recognize that it's the FDA that determines emergency use approval. But the general timeline, you and I have been talking about timelines since going back to March. What do you think the timeline is for these vaccine candidates to be available? Shots in the arms.
Yeah, what I think is going to happen, Savannah, is it's going to be all hands on deck. Everybody is going to do it correctly. They're not going to cut any corners, but they're going to do it quickly. We project that by the end of December, that there will be doses of vaccines available for individuals in the higher risk category from both companies, we hope. And this is something that we're looking forward to.
And real quickly, there are other companies that are obviously in stage 3 clinical trials right now. Do you anticipate we could end up with 3, 4, 5 efficacious vaccines?
Yeah. Savannah, I think that's quite conceivable that will occur, because one of the things that's common about these vaccines, even though the platforms are different, the Moderna and the Pfizer one are strikingly similar, but other types of vaccine platforms are using what's called the spike protein of the coronavirus, something that has been researched very intensively right in our own group at the NIH, at the Vaccine Research Center, to put it in the kind of conformation that is optimal to induce a good immune response. Virtually all of the other vaccines rely on that spike protein. So to me, that gives me hope that more than these 2 will also be effective.
I knew I was in trouble when I got into spike protein. So let's talk about how this could work. We're obviously in the middle of a transition between the Trump administration and the incoming Biden administration. How concerned are you that the White House has still not green-lighted the transition, so that folks in your side of things can be talking to the incoming Biden administration?
Well, Savannah, I mean, obviously it's something that we're concerned about. I mean, as you know, I've served in 6 administrations, so I've seen a number of transitions, and I know that transitions are very important to get a smooth, essentially, as I use the metaphor, essentially passing a baton without stopping running. I mean, you just want things to go very smoothly. So hopefully we'll see that soon. And transitions are important. Well,
and in particular, just to put a fine point on it, because is it, boy, it would be nice to have a smooth transition, or is it particularly critical? We just talked about this timeline, December, January, where vaccines are going to be stood up. People are going to need to get these vaccines. That is the very period of transition. Dr. Moncef Slaoui, who's actually in charge of vaccine administration for the Trump administration, has said that he hopes and he does not want to see that process disrupted in any way.
I totally agree with him, very much so. I mean, the virus is not going to stop and call a timeout while things change. The virus is just going to keep going. The process is just going to keep going. This is something that just is now going in the very, very strong right direction. The vaccines are effective. We want to get it approved as quickly as we possibly can. We want to get doses to people starting in December, and then we want to really get the ball rolling as we get into January, February, and March. We want a smooth process for that. And the way you do that is by essentially having the 2 groups speak to each other and exchange information.
You mentioned the vaccine research is going in the right direction. The virus is going in the wrong direction. We just had 145,000 cases daily. That's the 7-day daily average. 1,100 deaths. That's the daily average. Is this the dark winter that you and others have warned about?
I'm afraid that it can be, but we can do something about it, Savannah. I keep saying that over and over. Yes, it's a very serious situation. We know that there's COVID fatigue, that people are just tired of the kinds of restrictions. But there are fundamental things that we talk about all the time that I've discussed with you many times. The physical distancing, the washing of hands, the universal wearing of masking, the staying away from crowds throughout the country. We don't have to accept major surges. We can blunt them. And then with the vaccine, as I use it, I say, help is on the way. It certainly is. But the fact that help is on the way should spur us even more to double down on some of the public health measures, to be able to use the combination of a vaccine and public health measures to turn this thing around. We can do it.
I know you yourself have not advised a national lockdown. There are individual cities and states who are implementing stricter measures. Dr. Scott Atlas, who is the White House advisor to the president on the coronavirus, tweeted last night, "The only way this stops is if people rise up. You get what you accept."